It was a cold morning at a small town cafe, the kind of place where regulars came for warmth as much as coffee. Emma, a kind-hearted waitress in her late 20s, moved from table to table with her usual bright smile. She didn't make much money, but she always found ways to make others feel rich in kindness. When an old man with worn shoes and a faded coat walked in, she noticed how his hands trembled as he searched his pockets for change. He looked tired, hungry, and invisible to the world. Emma's heart softened. Without hesitation, she said, "Don't worry, sir. Coffee's on me today." The man looked up, surprised, his eyes glistening with gratitude. "Thank you, young lady," he said softly. His voice was gentle but carried the weight of years. Emma waved it off with a smile. "You're welcome. Everyone deserves a warm cup on a cold day." She poured the steaming coffee and added a muffin from her own tip jar money. The cafe owner frowned but didn't say anything. Emma was known for these small acts. As the man sipped slowly, he looked around, unnoticed by the others, yet watching everything carefully, the kindness, the conversations, the honesty of this small world. Emma had no idea that the man she just helped wasn't a poor stranger at all, but one of the richest men in the city, billionaire Richard Alden, who had recently gone undercover to see how ordinary people lived. Richard had built empires, owned hotels, and made headlines for his wealth. But since his wife's death, he felt empty. Wealth surrounded him, yet compassion was rare. He came to this small cafe wearing old clothes to test humanity, to see if kindness still existed in the simple corners of life. Emma's gesture touched him deeply. She didn't ask who he was, didn't expect anything back. Her warmth reminded him of his late wife, who always said, "Real riches are measured by the heart." As Emma refilled his cup, she asked if he was okay. Richard smiled faintly. "I'm better now," he said. When he finished, Richard tried to leave a small note under the empty cup, but Emma caught him. "Sir, you forgot your paper." He smiled. "Keep it, dear." She opened it to see a handwritten message, "Thank you for your kindness. The world needs more people like you." She smiled, folded it, and kept it in her pocket, not knowing the signature below, R. Alden, belonged to one of the most powerful men in the country. For her, it was just a sweet note from an old man. For Richard, it was a promise, he would see her again soon. Days turned into weeks. Emma continued her routine, serving coffee, wiping tables, and chasing dreams she could barely afford. She worked double shifts to help her mother's medical bills. Life was tough, but she never let it break her smile. Then, one morning, a black car stopped in front of the cafe. Two men in suits walked in, asking for Emma. Everyone stared as they handed her a letter sealed with gold wax. "Mr. Alden requests your presence at the Grand Crown Hotel," they said. Emma blinked in confusion, her hands trembling as she read the elegant invitation. Why would a billionaire want to meet her? Her coworkers teased her, thinking it was a prank. But something told Emma it was real. Nervously, she dressed in her best outfit and took the bus to the city's grandest hotel. The marble floors gleamed, chandeliers sparkled, and she felt out of place among the wealthy guests. At the top floor, a secretary led her into a luxurious office. Sitting behind a massive desk was the same old man she had once served coffee to, only now, he looked regal, confident, and commanding. "Good morning, Emma," he said warmly. "Do you remember me?" Her eyes widened. "You're the man from the cafe." She gasped. Richard nodded with a smile. "Yes, and you're the woman who reminded me that kindness still exists." Emma blushed, unsure what to say. He continued, "That day, your small gesture gave me something money couldn't buy, hope." He stood and handed her an envelope. Inside was a check large enough to change her life completely. "This is not charity," Richard said softly. "It's gratitude. You paid for my coffee, I want to repay you for the warmth you gave me that day." Tears welled in Emma's eyes. "Sir, I can't accept this," she whispered. "You don't owe me anything." But Richard shook his head. "You see, my dear, I wasn't testing you for me, I was testing humanity. And you passed with grace." He explained how he had been helping small businesses and people who showed genuine kindness. Emma's simple act had inspired him to start a new foundation, the Cup of Kindness Project, to support those who give without expecting anything in return. And he wanted her to manage it. Emma was speechless. "Me? But I'm just a waitress." Richard smiled. "That's exactly why. Because you understand what real struggle looks like, and how kindness can change it. He told her she'd receive full training, a home, and a salary beyond anything she imagined. Her hands shook as she accepted. "Thank you, Mr. Alden. I don't know how to repay you." He smiled gently. "Just keep doing what you've always done, serve the world with kindness." Within months, Emma's life transformed. She left her old cafe job and began working for the foundation. She traveled to shelters, schools, and hospitals, helping people in need, one cup of kindness at a time. Her story went viral when a journalist learned the truth. The billionaire's mysterious kindness project had been inspired by a waitress who once paid for a stranger's coffee. People across the nation began performing random acts of kindness, tagging #CupOfKindness online. Emma became a symbol of hope in a world that often forgot how to care. Richard continued to mentor her like a father figure. He visited the foundation regularly, watching with pride as Emma grew into a leader. But he never let fame change her heart. "Remember," he often said, "kindness is most powerful when no one's watching." Emma carried those words everywhere. Sometimes, she still stopped at the same cafe, ordering a coffee and leaving extra money for whoever came after. It reminded her of where it all began, one small act that had echoed across countless lives. A year later, during the foundation's anniversary event, Richard stood on stage beside Emma. Reporters flashed cameras as he told the story of how an ordinary waitress had reminded him of humanity's beauty. That day, he said, "I found more wealth in her kindness than in all my bank accounts." The crowd applauded, but Emma's eyes were full of tears. She hugged him tightly, whispering, "You gave me more than a job, you gave my life purpose." He smiled. "No, Emma, you gave me that first." As the years passed, their friendship became legendary. Richard often said she was the daughter he never had. Together, they opened cafes that offered free coffee for the needy, in every city where the foundation worked. A small sign at each cafe read, "One act of kindness can change the world." People began to believe it. And for Emma, each cup poured was more than coffee, it was love, hope, and a reminder that compassion could transform even the coldest hearts. One day, as Richard grew old and weak, he called Emma to his bedside. "Promise me," he said softly, "that you'll keep the kindness alive." She held his hand, tears streaming down. "I promise." With a gentle smile, he whispered, "The best investment I ever made was a cup of coffee." Those were his final words. After his passing, Emma dedicated the foundation to his memory. She continued his mission, expanding it to reach millions worldwide. Years later, as Emma sat in her office overlooking a bustling city, she sipped her morning coffee and smiled. On her desk sat the same note he had once left under the cup, "Thank you for your kindness. The world needs more people like you." She whispered, "And now, it has them." The story of the waitress and the billionaire became a legend, a timeless reminder that one simple act of kindness can ripple through generations and turn a stranger's life into a miracle.